article here that Super Don found. I don't know who sent who what today on the show, but there's an article about pesticides, common
Mm.
pesticides to be banned over links to problems in children. Now, I've been an advocate for organic food ever since I learned about my food that I ate up until the age of 24 was all pesticide contaminated, and that it was part of my problem, all my health challenges from young little Scotty Bell baby to young adult Scotty Bell to transition to Robert Scott Bell eventually as a healthy person. But the Biden administration said Wednesday that widely used pesticide will be banned because it's been linked to neurological damage in children. Now, I don't know that this is something the Biden administration is doing. If he is, it's one thing I would say it's a good move. Even if we don't like Biden, we are have integrity enough to say that's a good move if that's going to happen. But the idea of pesticides being harmful to kids and everybody, we talk about a church environment
Right.
preaching on not just spiritual things, but our temple, our body, the health of our body, that I would encourage every minister to be a minister not only of spirit but of the health of the body, and guide them to cleaner foods, as was the food quality even in the Garden of Eden.
Absolutely. And about the pesticides, they already know the danger of glyphosate, right? But still, it is still widely used. And even the non-GMO label, it doesn't necessarily mean that the product is not sprayed. Even if it's non-GMO, it doesn't mean it's organic. So that's what I'm trying to pass to my students and friends who want to learn about the clean food, because non-GMO doesn't mean it hasn't been sprayed. It just means it hasn't been modified, genetically modified.
Mm-hmm.
So people eat a lot of non-GMO chips, non-GMO snacks, and they think they are eating healthy, clean, organic, which is
Mm-hmm.
not the same.
No, you're right. There's a differentiation that's important to make. And I remember when my good friend Jeffrey Smith acknowledged that, because, as
Yes.
he was a champion against genetic engineering,
Hmm.
and I always said to him, I'm organic. Yeah, I don't like GMOs, but I don't think that's enough,
Hmm.
because what? All right, you avoid GMOs, but then you pesticide yourself, and it's a harmful thing. And of course, he came to acknowledge, as his
Yeah.
promotion of organic being the number one priority here. And even if it's not certified by the federal government, if you know how it's being grown, if you get to know the farmer themselves, they could exceed those standards and
Hmm.
not want to spend the money that it takes to get certified. So I'm not only talking about federal certification, but if you personally know, or you become your own gardener slash farmer. I just pretty much completed our two greenhouses finally. It's been a big project,
Wow.
homemade with some help. My wife was amazing in doing this, and we have set it up now. We've got the soil mix. In fact, last night, I thought my night was done. I was going to go take it easy, relax, and go to bed. And then I get a call, hey, can you come over tonight? We can prepare the soil, because there's a special blend that the guy I'm working with has. And he is like, I was thinking, okay, I'll go pick it up. No, no, no.
Hmm.
We got to go and we got to make the blend. So I'm hauling this stuff and mixing this stuff. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't have worked out so hard in the morning had I known what I was going through in the evening. But boy, did I sleep well later that night.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and that's another aspect of we talk about sleep disturbance as well, is we're not active enough. And I thought about, once again, our culture being so devoid of knowledge of what it takes to be alive. We think that because we have Federal Reserve notes, we have oil or gas to fill in our car, however expensive it is, and we can drive to the grocery store and magically get our food, just as I believed, Ula, when I was a little boy,
Hmm.
food magically appeared in the grocery store.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
This is an anomaly in the whole history of humanity on the planet.
Oh,
And
I agree.
the risk by just pretending it will never change, that system of delivery of food will never be challenged. It risks a devastating disaster that does not happen to be. And I'm always reminded of Joseph in the story in the Bible, about telling the Pharaoh about the 7 years of famine kind of thing,
Hmm.
and to prepare
Hmm.
for it, that these are messages for us in a contemporary setting that we should have never ignored, but we got lazy. We got believing in the magic of the 20th century and technology, and we all now have what? Oil slaves. We don't have to have people working for us in the field, because they're already working, and oil's doing most of the work for us. This was a message from our dearly departed friend Liam Sheff, by the way, as well,
Hmm.
that I acknowledge. So I'm just sharing a story that it just came right home to me as I was really working hard. My physical body was tired.
Yeah,
Not deathly tired, but tired in a sense is that I worked it and I was ready for bed. And it was a good kind of tired and exhausted that
that's
unfortunately
exactly right.
most of our people in the West and Americans do not know of. I don't know about your upbringing in Poland, how much physical manual labor you had to do in preparing potatoes to eat under Russian or Soviet rule. I don't know.
I didn't have to, but my grandparents did. So that was my grandparents' gym. They didn't have to go and work out because they had a garden, they had the farm, and that was their workout. But then my parents moved to the big city, and I was a city girl. And sadly, I grew up just in the summer. I was helping my grandparents, so I learned about different fruits and vegetables. I was just so oblivious and so ignorant,
Hmm.
yes, about different kinds of food. And my grandma was an amazing herbalist, and not educated in any uh, natural health medicine schools. It was just by tradition passed on to her. So I knew all about the tinctures and different herbs and different spices used for different ailments. Like when I would be sick,
Hmm.
when I was at home, I would be getting my antibiotics for any sniffle, for anything. I was antibiotically raised like you.
Hmm.
And then if I was spending summer with my grandparents, 2 3 months, and I would have flu-like symptoms, cold, anything. I remember tons of garlic, tons of like black pepper, different things, tinctures, some with alcohol. Yes, really, like I was like, what is it? Fire in the glass. Oh, but
Yeah.
yeah, knocking
They were
stuff
helpful.
out.
But
Oh
that
yeah.
was the wisdom of our ancestors. Of course, you got to know your ancestors in terms of your grandparents and the way they
Mm-hmm,
lived. So you had some connection in your young life to come back
mm-hmm,
to. In my young life, I don't recall having that. It's not, again, I'm not complaining because I got to learn it for the first time in my 20s, other than reading about it in books, the idea that, oh, you mean food comes from a farm?
mm,
Really? Okay. I read about it, but it wasn't part of my upbringing. So to do
yeah.
what I do now, when people say I don't have a green thumb, I can't grow anything, I'm like, dude, it's not you that's doing the growing. If you
I
can
don't
just
have
do the
any
basics.
thumbs. I don't have any thumbs. Red, green, nothing. I
I've
was
seen
completely
pictures of your
like a,
garden.
well, yes, but that's what I'm saying. You don't need a green thumb. You
Hmm.
just grow. And I've learned from the energy healing. I was very skeptical about the energy healing.
Yep.
And Bruce Lipton started talking, giving lectures and stuff. I was listening to a few things and I was like, oh, but then, the more I listened, the more it made sense to me. And I started talking to my plants, and Mark is making fun of me, but he was like, do whatever works, it's working because the plants are growing, and I don't put any fertilizers or anything like that. In the beginning, I put a lot of Fauci's comments. Sorry, I mean manure. Yes, so it helped to
Super
stimulate the
Don.
growth.
We should come out with a form of manure for your garden and call it Fauci's
Fauci
comments.
comments, yeah.
I
Fauci's
like
fertilizer.
Fauci's
Yeah.
fertilizers come straight from his mouth. Oh my gosh, Ula, that's precious. Uh, but yeah, so you that was the sustenance. If you have good manure that's been composted over a season or two or three, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's part of the blend that I put together with the help of a friend who knows how to do this and's
Hmm.
been doing it much longer than me, and so that you have the ease of growing. And I'll be talking about that. I see Sherry has a question of the greenhouses, are they something that others can buy or buy plans for? And
Hmm.
now that I've helped to build them, my wife has tremendously too. I know what it takes to do it. It's still, if you have basic acumen in terms of cutting and hammers and nails and screws and basic
Hmm.
things, you can put it together. I have a better concept of how to do it. And let's see, Sherry's in Maryland, which is about the same latitude that I'm at, although the climate's a little different there. I think it would be a similar type of design. And maybe I can do a show on that or bring my friend Caleb on to talk about it. But if you go to seedrenaissance.com, I believe it is, seedrenaissance.com, there may be some information about greenhouses there and different things to follow up on. I don't know, you're in South Carolina there.
Hmm.
Your winters tend to be milder, but you can get some cold weather, sub-freezing
Yeah. Oh, yes, for
temperature. So
sure.
greenhouses can be of great benefit to grow
Hmm.
through the winter. You get a decent amount of sun in the winter there as well.
Hmm.
So you can do amazing things to grow through the winter, even if you're not in Florida like I was for the previous 12 or 13 years.
Yeah,
Just
that's on
again.
my bucket list. I
Mhm.
definitely want to build a greenhouse for sure.
And with a community like you have, probably you could put out a call through the ministry and say, we got a barn raising happening. We've got the basic walls. Help us put them up, and boom, 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 it's up. And then you can continue on. So
We do have a lot of great farmers in our church, and they bring me honey. They are beekeepers as well. And we have new beekeepers who just learn from each other how to start the beehives and everything. It's amazing.
Do you
We
have,
just share.
do they have bee pollen too, or just the honey?
I'm not sure. I think with bee pollen as well.
Oh, yeah, I
Because
love
it's
bee
like,
pollen. I still eat that every day
yeah,
for a little bit of a dietary copper.
copper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, all right, again, on the pesticide thing, it's just here, it's common knowledge. Apparently, there's still some people out there that haven't figured it out. What would you say percentage-wise in your husband's ministry, the people there are eating organically versus conventionally grown pesticide-laden foods?
I would say 50-50.
Yeah, about half.
More
That's
and
pretty good,
more,
actually, yeah.
more and more people are seeing the benefits of eating organic. Even when I try to encourage my girls in church, like try for 2 weeks. Just give yourself 2 weeks and try to eat only organic, 100%. Commit yourself to 2 weeks. And I know you think about expenses and so on, but again, like you said, you can go to the farmers market and make sure that they are growing organically. Know your farmer, and then you get organic food cheap because it doesn't have a certificate and extra cost added. And then they will see the difference just in their overall health. They will stop having asthma attacks and so on, which happen in my close circle. So definitely, without pesticides, without herbicides, stuff like that.
I love that you're doing that 2-week challenge for people. Just humor me. 2 weeks, budget
That's
a
all
little
you
bit,
need.
don't do a few other things, and see what happens. And in 2 weeks, that little amount of time, you can see such tremendous changes in symptoms that you've had. You're like, you mean that was the food the whole time? That was the food? Yeah. That's the
Yes.
largest source of exposure of these chemicals beyond breathing or potential water. And we'll get to water as well. In fact, right now, our second article that I think is very important here, and it's linked up in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. It says this at Medical Express: drinking sufficient water could prevent heart failure. Way back when I did an interview with Dr. Batman Gelage of Your Body's Many Cries for Water back in 02 or something like that, or 05, I don't remember now. And I don't know if we lost that with YouTube banning us, Super D, or if we had a backup of the interview with Dr. Batman Gelage. Do you remember?
I think we've got it on Patreon, dude.
Okay, I hope so, because that's an
Yeah.
important article. And at Trinity, you do learn a lot about hydration. And what did you learn?
I do. That even the minimal dehydration can cause some really serious issues. Like, I don't remember all the numbers, so I will just tell you. Linda Page, the book Healthy Healing, it states that at 4% water depletion, muscle endurance diminishes and you start to get dizzy. So very often when we get dehydrated, just even a little bit dehydrated, we start feeling dizzy, slight headache. Then at 5% water loss, headaches begin, mild to quite severe. Drowsiness, loss of the ability to concentrate, and unreasonable impatience occurs. Because you get headache, you get cranky. At 6% water loss, body temperature is impaired, and your heart begins to race. So very often I have clients like the one I'm working on now, and she says, her body temperature cannot adjust. So she's like either freezing or getting very hot. I'm like, okay, that's not related to any menopausal issues and stuff. It's just homeostasis is out of whack because she's very, very dehydrated. From the interview that I had with her, she doesn't drink hardly any water.
What was she drinking besides water? Is it sodas? Is it diuretics like coffee? What do people, like her?
No coffee, just soft drinks. Yes.
Soft drinks. Yeah. Yeah.
And tea, occasionally tea. So,
Yeah. But in this case, we're talking what? Heart failure. Heart
Right.
failure. I mean, it's like, we're going to have to give you a heart transplant. No, drink water. And, it's one of these things that's been a revelation to me over the years, as I've learned. And when I interviewed Dr. Batman from his book, Your Body's Many Cries of Water, what was he? He was a physician, a medical doctor in Iran, political prisoner in prison, helping fellow prisoners who knew he was a doctor to deal with ulcers and headaches and all kinds of maladies, simply by drinking water. Sometimes he'd say put a little sea salt in it, apparently. But for the most part, water. The water cure we've talked about over the years as well. That concept that hydration is your first starting point to make sure you're drinking enough. Of course, adequately filtered, clean from clean sources, or clean up what's coming to you from municipally treated sources. You know, we're big fans here of Synergy Science and the Echo water filtration systems. But even if you don't have filtrate, or let's say that whole system set up, now we have for the hydrogen element of not only hydration, but the facilitation of a lot of great things with the H2 dissolved. The little units like the H2 Go now, for less than $150, you can have hydrogen in the water. So it's just amazing the ease with which we can get benefit from water alone. It's the carrier for most things homeopathic. Even if you utilize pellets, it's a water/alcohol base that imparts the information to the pellets that you take. So water, vitally important on so many levels. And of course, the bottom line, hydration.
Yes. And you know, the sodium, potassium pump and everything, it all comes down to not enough water or too much water. Because like in this article that you quoted, they say minimum water intake should be for women between 1.5 and 2 liters of water, and for men between 2 and 3 or 4. And I was taught that actually we need, in order to maintain our optimal health, we need half of our body weight in liquid or fluid ounces. So if you're a 200-pound man or a woman, you need 100 ounces of water. And of course, you will not be drinking water because you can actually flush out a lot of valuable minerals and cause heart problems. But you can eat a lot of food that contains a lot of water. You know, watermelon, cantaloupe, celery, cucumbers, strawberries. And
we have 15 cantaloupe growing right now.
Oh man!
I think maybe more. I'm not sure. And we got 2 watermelon. They're slow on. They're little ones, but we're getting better. You know, with each season about how to care for the soil and plant things. And then, as I said, for the people that say I don't have a green thumb, or as you said, I don't have thumbs at all, you just have to make sure you have decent soil and sunlight, of course, and adequate water. And even, in a place like a high desert where I'm growing some things, to know how to modify the way you grow to minimize your need for water that may be in scarce supply. As well as now with my greenhouses, we have a sloped roof, metal roof, drives into a little channel that catches a funnel. The water is then driven into a large barrel inside the greenhouse itself.
Wow.
And we just had a like 2.5 days of rain out of nowhere. And the barrel is like 3/4 full just from 2 days of rain. You talk about efficiency of collecting rainwater from the roof. Now, don't tell anybody because it might be illegal for all I know.
Right.
I'm not in Oregon where Super Don is. By the way, I want to bring Super Don in the mix here in addition. You know about tweeting, right? This idea of Twitter. You're not a big fan of Twitter, Super Don, because it's all about flaming wars of aggression, right?
Right.
Ula, you're on Twitter. We do have automated Twitter stuff during the show where Super Don tweets out the things, and I'll try to tweet out here. We're on the air. Still Periscope or whatever they call it now is working, so some people do watch us on Twitter. And yesterday, we tweeted out, one tweet out of all the tweets of the show was about this guy named Sean Penn. Do you know this guy, Sean Penn?
Sadly, I do, yes.
Yeah. Now, he tweeted that he doesn't want anybody to see his movies if they haven't been vaccinated. He wants to do more than that, right?
Yeah, you got
and
that,
we're
buddy.
Like, of course, we're not upset. I did like his character, Jeff Spicoli, in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's not a kid's movie, by the way. But this tweet, I just want to say, this is the weirdest thing, Super Don. I showed you this morning. Now, we only have like 11 to 12,000 followers. We had more, and then we got diminished like everybody in the great, whatever they called it, the churning of people that say unapproved things on Twitter. But we're still here. We haven't been banned on Twitter. And so usually we'll have maybe a few thousand impressions a day, all right? Not big. Occasionally we'll have a breakthrough day and something catches. The Sean Penn tweet yesterday, over 200,000 impressions and climbing.
Whew.
What the heck happened? I don't get it. What is it with this Sean Penn guy? Now, I know Sean Penn. He's been verified to be a CIA asset. He has been involved with the CIA in his lifetime. And once CIA, always CIA, in my opinion. So I'm not a guy that trusts Sean Penn. Yes, he's a good and talented actor, but I'm not interested in seeing any of his movies. This one in particular, I think it's going to tank. But I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain why that tweet got such traction. I just don't know.
Was it on your account?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You have it there? What are you seeing there?
No, this is actually, I mean, the Twitter went crazy, but on our Facebook, it got some attention, some shares, and some comments, but the comments are priceless. You know, it's like the headline: Sean Penn would prefer it if unvaccinated people don't even see his movies. Some of the comments are like, "So do the unvaccinated." Yeah. Very happy to oblige you. Don't worry, we're not interested. Sounds like a plan. So yeah, it got some traction on Facebook as well.
Yeah. Well, again, who knows? I mean, because we're not clickbaiters. We don't even strategize about these tweets, really. I mean, it's nice when it happens. We're like, oh, that's cool. But we're so not programmed to program, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
It's like, what do we organically want to cover that's important to us? And we'll roll with it. And then the people that are interested will join us or not. And I know that's very not a smart business thing to do, but I've never been about the business of this. I've always been about how do we help people? How do we empower them? And somehow we're still here 22 plus years later. God bless you. And thank you to all of you. In fact, you just sent a message, Super Don, in Skype. This is from Nancy Alexander.
Yeah.
What is this?
Our newest patron, just while we were on the air here.
Nice.
Nancy joined Patreon. She says, Robert and Super Don, thank you for keeping me sane during this last year and a half. I thought I'd put my money where my mouth is and become a patron. Your knowledge, sense of humor, and compassion have been invaluable. Thank you. Love you guys.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it.
Nancy, thank you. That's very sweet. Like, we love... Look, everybody out there is doing whatever they can to help. I know you're sharing the show. That I see a lot more of as well. And it really, because we don't have a PR agency doing it for us. We are it. Ula's fantastic, as you know. We love Ula. You're just such a supporter of this message. And you yourself have gone through this education process. I don't know. When did you connect with Trinity? When did you learn about Trinity School of Natural Health?
It was through you, because you were talking so much about the Trinity. I'm like, okay.
I'm so annoyed. I'm going to look it up.
You know? Yeah, so actually I checked, and I was like, I know a lot of things. I'm watching Robert Scott, but I know it all. But I called and I talked to the consultant or the student. Yes, enrollment specialist, yes. And she talked to me, she was very polite and courteous, and I was like, I don't want to start from the beginning because I think I already have some expertise, blah blah blah, knowledge. She's like, that's fine, that's wonderful. Yeah, what kind of qualifications and blah blah. I'm like, I have no qualifications, just knowledge, And she just asked a few questions, and I was like, oh man, yeah,
maybe I should start it.
Yeah, so she was like, if you'd like to start, those are the steps I recommend. And after consult, I was like, yeah, I need that.
Yeah, and the foundation has been good, hasn't it?
And oh my goodness, even the history of medicine and all those great healers. And from the beginning, even the history of Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, all the Greek healers and stuff like that, Persian healers, amazing. I mean, I had no idea that medicine is that old. And I thought, it's all witch doctor stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, it's amazing. And then learning about the Flexner report and Rockefellers. Yes, that was eye-opening, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. And you've come through it. They didn't reject you because you're from Poland or anything.
They
were very nice.
No, they were actually very, very patient with me and with my English language. And although they are scoring also the proper grammar and, your structure, when you submit your assignments, they want you at the highest level, because you're representing Trinity School later on as a health professional. And so, yeah, that was amazing. I actually had to work really hard to form proper sentences and work on my grammar. And I asked Mark to be my editor-in-chief. And he was reading through, read proofing and yeah, it was fun.
So Ula, is English a second language, third language, fourth language? Which number of languages is English for you?
Actually, English was my third language, yes.
Third. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Polish, then what?
Then I started learning German.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And no.
Wow, you love German, huh?
Yes. Ich liebe Deutsch.
There you go.
No.
All right. But folks, trinityschool.org. And I'm talking doctors. You doctors out there, you didn't learn the things you will learn at Trinity School of Natural Health. We don't need to treat disease. We need to restore the function, the structure of the human frame, and then watch the miracles of healing occur. Imagine that. Big Pharma doesn't like it. FDA might not like it, but we don't ask for permission where none is required. And again, when you're not treating disease, you don't have to ask permission. You're helping the body to heal itself. They would have to take it up with God if they got a problem with that, because it's body, mind, and spirit at Trinity. That's trinityschool.org. So thank you for that. Let me do a quick shout out to my friends at Nutritional Frontiers, Super Don, right? We got, do we have any more pictures of people sending in? We had just yesterday.
The most recent one was our buddy Jeff. That we showed the other day there. Hold on, I can pull that up.
Yeah, show that. But this is amazing. This has been getting me through a lot of the anxiety and angst and just emotional traumas of losing our so many friends here. I'm gonna take another dose right now. There it is. Jeff Herzog is there.
Oh, look at the mug.
He's got his mug, right? I don't know if he's got a hoodie like you have or V-necks like you have, Ula. You are just spoiled, Ula.
I know.
We love spoiling, Ula.
All the swag.
Yeah. But here we have, look at all the people that have submitted, and this is not all of them, but when you go to cbdnf.com, sign up for an account, let them know you heard about it through the Robert Scott Bell Show. They'll send you a thank you package with samples of their CBD, topical, transdermal, and to take internally. And then you'll be eligible to win. Once a month, we've been doing a giveaway, which has been a whole lot of fun, and people are getting really amazing things because Nutritional Frontiers, Tracy Stroup, and all the gang there. Jamie Dorley, who runs it, he's amazing. Very good people. They celebrate liberty. They defend the ideals of America, and we want you to support them as well if you haven't already. Certified organic, U.S. grown, CBD hemp, and very clean products. So thank you for that. So you mentioned, Super Don, did you hear Ula mention witch doctors? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Does that remind you of something?
It did. Immediately reminded me of something from back in the day. I don't know how the level's going to be on this, but let's give it a shot.
Rock the health world through the power of radio.
It's loud.
Bell Show.
I was just talking to a caller on the break, and he was saying, before I heard your show, I thought, you guys were witch doctors. Yes, the witch doctor of talk radio, Robert Scott Bell.
And then the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He told me,
and then you realize it listens, and you break the cycle of the mind control propaganda. Suddenly you go, oh my, 100,000 to 784,000 Americans are dying every year to something that I call legitimate. That's the witch doctoring.
Making sense out of medical propaganda. You're listening to the Robert Scott Bell Show.
Oh, those were the days.
Gosh, I love this one.
That was the history behind this. That was the very first promo that I made.
Oh, wow.
That I created ever for the show. And it's still today my favorite.
Yeah.
Always,
I love it.
always the brilliance, the magic of Super Don. And you think about the concept of witch doctoring.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? It came from this emergence of allopathic science medicine, that they would look at the herbs of creation and they would try to utilize religious phrasework to say, oh, it's evil, it's witchcraft. And the irony, of course, is, as we know, allopathic modern medicine based on pharmakia, which is sorcery. Mm-hmm. So they're calling the pot calling the kettle black in a sense. But when we talk about going back into the bush and saving the medicine of history, of our ancestry, even mentioned in the Bible, it's the plants of creation. It's all the wonderful medicines and sustenance we can get from that. And, of course, we had to make fun of being called the witch doctor of health talk radio, right? And then you, as you said yourself, Ula, with deeply held religious convictions, concerned, nervous about, hey, what is this natural stuff?
Yes.
What is this thought about the mind and medicine? And, man, we've been programmed to believe everything backwards about God's medicine.
Yep. And the school educational system, has a lot to do with it as well. because they are, of course, promoting vaccination. They are promoting traditional medicine. They are teaching kids about the value of antibiotics without mentioning the natural antibiotics, and maybe trying the natural way first. When you first start seeing symptoms, start taking the natural medicine. And then if it gets worse, there's a time and place that you may consider allopathic medicine and different treatments. But when there is an opportunity for you to try the treatment without any side effects and actually enhancing your health and boosting your immune system, why not?
Imagine not risking death by taking a substance from creation,
Right.
as opposed to risking death every day by taking substances of man and the patents from the Fear and Death Administration once they are approved and given exclusivity. Now, would anybody dare to exercise or take nutrition? Because as far as I know, they're not approved by the FDA. Check out this article. This is how crazy it's gotten. Lack of exercise and poor nutrition could, we don't want to be committed here, but could increase the risk of diseases like dementia. You mean not exercising and not having adequate minerals could result in neurological degradation over time? Could it be? Don't say it isn't. So FDA doesn't approve exercise or nutrition. How are we going to recover from this? This doesn't lead to more drugs.
Right. Yes. So we know the benefits of health, even walking 20 minutes walk, because I understand, there are a lot of people who are just now considering getting back on the health path to restore their health and boost their immune system, especially in this COVID era. Everyone is scared, and there's a lot of fear, and people are just locked in their homes, just locked in themselves, in their fear. And of course, the immune system collapses. And yes, the neurological disorders like Alzheimer's, dementia, even autism, the severe case of autism from vaccine injury, those are all related to lack of movement, sadly. And especially fresh air and sun exposure. Vitamin D3 has been proven to be so beneficial for so many ailments, but especially neurological disorders. So when you sit at home in your little shell, in your fear, you're lowering your immune system, especially elderly. So go out, even go around your house, 10, 15 minutes walk, build it up, do any physical exercise. And if you can go stationary bike, if you cannot walk far, you can sit and still move. That's what my mother-in-law does. She has problems walking because of her spine and the hip and different bone density. But she is trying to work out every single day. She's got the stationary bike and she does exercises. My father-in-law walks around the block and he's 82 years old. And my parents in Poland, although now Poland is going into more lockdowns, I believe. But when there were no lockdowns, my parents would be walking at least several miles every single day around beautiful parks in Warsaw. So where there is a will, there is a way, and definitely your cognitive decline will be stopped, or at least you will not progress into
slow the
dementia.
decline. Maybe speak of regeneration. How does
yes,
exercise facilitate regenerative capacity of the body?
Hippocampus, that's what, or hippocampus. That's what the article mentioned as well. That neurogenesis is going to happen. So.
And just exercise, folks. In addition to nutrients, of course, we know key minerals we've talked about for many years, selenium, silica, chromium, the basics, of course, and more, the essential fats. Now the endocannabinoid system, we know CBD and hemp can play an important role. But the idea of exercise, movement, and you mentioned it even in children. What are the recommendations right now from what we heard earlier today, the predictions of acute flaccid myelitis coming back in the spring?
Yes.
It's like, what is that based on? Well, guess what? They're inducing it because they're telling us, what should we do? Hide in our homes, wear masks,
put
use
the kids in
excessive
front of
amounts
computers.
toxic chemicals, sedentary lives. Don't let them out. Certainly don't let them get sun exposure because the sun causes cancer. Right. All the wrong messages coming from our officials. Why they have any legitimacy, I'm not certain, because they don't hear on the Robert Scott Bell Show. They'd have to work harder to earn our trust, and I don't think they would get it back this lifetime the way they have been so disastrous to the health of all Americans. Public health, again, code word for Marxism, communism. Hide in your basement from the sun, from people, and don't move too much. you might get a virus.
Right. And look at the kids, like you mentioned, kids, they are being put on virtual learning. Again, a lot of schools, even in my county, they want to put kids on virtual school because many cases positive among families or even students. And now South Carolina, our Pickens County, is freaking out, and they want to close down schools and virtual learning. So you put the kid in front of the computer for the virtual learning for several hours, where we as parents are trying to discourage the kids. You have half an hour to an hour in front of electrical device, we don't want them stuck and having their, phone neck develop, because that's why we go to chiropractor to fix the damage done already by the electrical appliances. Whatever, electrical appliances.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I often overlook it, not purposefully, because it's still the invisible threat.
Yeah.
The idea of electromagnetic frequencies or radiation, even non-ionizing radiation. And I believe that's another aspect of the trigger. I don't claim it's the cause, but I cannot ignore the fact that these strange wavelengths that are being added onto our existence every day are also overwhelming even a lot of the people that do good things. That if they're exposed to extreme levels, and what are those extreme levels? The FCC in this case, along with FDA, just going, yeah, it's fine. And I think Bobby Kennedy and his group won another suit where they admitted that the approvals about all of these devices and things have not gone through rigorous scientific analysis, and they've utilized science that is not applicable. So we're all dealing with this invisible threat or challenge that we can just pretend doesn't exist. And for those that bring it up, oh, that's just crazy talk. Still, they dismiss anybody concerned about that. That's why we've talked about the strategies we have here. I'm not saying there's only one, but as you know, with the key technology or WaveGuard, the only one that I know of that's gone through double-blind, rigorous placebo-controlled studies to show the impact or the protection afforded the body exposed to these signals. So in the midst of it, we have a way with technology to counter the technology that was done unconsciously, if you will, or some would say nefariously, if that's the intent. I don't know. But the point is, that's another aspect of the threat to our health that could facilitate the rise of what? Damage to what? Oxygenation capacity of the body? Could that be contributing? I believe so. And yet we are derided as crazy if we even bring it up. I'm not going to even, other than acknowledging that they try to do that, I don't think they're successful. But those that have said it's the thing, the only thing, it's too easy to dismiss that. So you try to put it in context of it's another one of those potential triggers, or let's say assaults that diminish our vital force, our ability to withstand other things. So it adds up.
No, there is no denial that 5G and EMF pollution is affecting our health on the cellular level. So people don't even realize that they're being fried like it's from within. Like when you heat up food in a microwave, which I don't have, but people do. You heat up in a microwave, and the food doesn't get hot all the way through. It just heats up from the inside out, and then it's horrible.
Well, it
and the
alters
same is
its
happening. Yeah,
alters its molecular structure.
That's right.
If it had integrity to begin with, depending on what you're putting in the microwave. Speaking of frying and microwaving, did you have hot dogs growing up in Poland? Hot dogs?
No, not really.
Well, that's why you look so good at 87. You're amazing. Hot dogs. Here's news. The next news story on the Robert Scott Bell Show. This is one. Hello, hot dogs. Goodbye, hot dogs. According to this latest study, eating one hot dog claims 35 minutes off of your life. Ouch.
That reminds me of my ladies beauticians and the specialist of whatever, Mary Kay, wonderful products and stuff. But they told me, don't go to sleep with your makeup on, because you're taking 7 days of aging, you're adding 7 days of aging. So I'm like, oh my, and sometimes, I would be leaving some makeup on. I don't wear much makeup, but just on my eyes. And like, no, because then you will wrinkle prematurely. The same with the hot dogs. 35
minutes per hot dog. And think about it though, if you microwave it could be 35 days per hot dog. I don't know. Don't microwave the hot dog.
How do they measure that? How do they measure that? I wonder.
I don't know.
Do they take someone who already died and
How many hot
Then
dogs
they-
did he eat? And he coulda-
Alternative universe, like, oh, you see, this is the universe when you ate hot dogs. This is the universe.
Yeah,
sometimes I
it
have
sounds
crazy
like
thoughts
the
like that.
Marvel Universe multiverse. Findings included over 5,000 foods in the U.S. diet classified as by health burden and environmental impact. Let's see, how did they do this? They arranged the scores. Basically range from 74 minutes lost to 80 minutes gained per serving. We mean there's something worse than hot dogs? Although, again, if they're coming from certified, let's say, organic or grass-fed animals and not added all the garbage, I don't know that you're going to have that same scenario, but if it's what Meyer Wiener, maybe. I don't know. But they saw about gains. Foods like salted peanuts, baked salmon, and rice with beans were associated with positive gains between 10 to 15 minutes. But what if those salted peanuts were loaded with aflatoxin? I didn't talk about that. So they're missing a few things
Right.
here.
Yes.
They're looking at salt, they do mention trans fats. So that has an impact that we acknowledge here. And there's a link to that study, the Michigan Public Health Study, in this regard. Hot dogs, 35-minute reduction in your lifespan. So check it out.
But again,
choose
how
wisely.
can they know? That's what I'm thinking. Like, how do they know that it's 35 minutes of your life?
There, Ula.
Super Don knows.
Super Don, do you know the answer to that question? How do they know?
I'm just excited that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were associated with an increase of 33 minutes.
Dude, all right.
Yes.
Make
That's the
sure
best
the
part right
peanut
there.
butter is organic,
PB&J,
please.
man.
Yeah, right?
Right? Grandma was right.
All right, let's see. A couple of more stories before we wrap up. Then we got a bonus round. If Ula can stick around, we'll see. Half of Americans, this is a sad story, and I know it well because, my wife and her story, you all know I've talked about her pain, trigeminal neuralgic pain. We've managed it the best way we can, but it's not like the problem's ever been fully solved. It's just been reduced from the severity and intensity where she was completely not functional. There are better days, there are worse days. Nearly half of Americans worry they'll never have another pain-free day in their lives. This is sad. A new study asked 2,000 Americans about their daily experience and impact on their life dealing with aches and pains, along with finding that 48% believe they'll never have a pain-free day again. The average American says they'll only have 13 truly pain-free days every year. Holy tamale.
Wow.
Wow. My wife is not alone. This is big.
And fibromyalgia is going up. Yeah. So pain is real. And like when we went to the chiropractor for the first time, and we went with some pain. Like our daughter had the shoulder that was popping out when she was moving her head. When my shoulder and my back was hurting, my husband's back, and the wonky shoulder after he jumped out of the window to run after our son who escaped.
Wow.
So he dislocated, and it was just a mess. So we all had pain, and we didn't know about Michael because he doesn't communicate if he's in pain, but we assumed he was. And we said, but it's okay. I mean, it's normal to have some pain. And he was like, no, it's not it's not okay. It's not normal to have pain. You assume that it's normal because everybody else has pain, but it's not normal. Our body, and you're still young. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That, you're not supposed to suffer. You're not supposed to live in pain. And after adjustments, we realized that, pain is not something we should be used to.
I asked this question once to somebody very deeply spiritually connected. What's the purpose of pain and suffering? And the answer at that point was pain is actually the great purifier of God on some level.
Sure.
That it is something that can burn off debt if we have it, or help others if you choose to do that, like some have. But the choice is still a choice, and at a certain point it can become a habit. Yet there are people suffering. Like I said, my wife, I know for full well, trying to get through this. And we manage it with safe things, non-toxic things, non-addictive things like CBD, kratom, and other things to reduce it, and other bioenergetic signals. But, it's still an ongoing endeavor, and I understand and I have compassion for people that suffer and feel that they may never come out of it. We're going to keep trying and keep getting information out to y'all. We got to take a break. Ula, can you stick around a few more minutes, or you have to run? Okay.
Yes.
Bonus round coming up, including a story we didn't get to about Lyme disease, wreaking havoc on mental health. So if you want to talk about that, we'll be with you momentarily. 60-second break. Thanks for everybody listening in the United Kingdom on UK Health Radio as well. Appreciate y'all being here. The power to heal is yours.
show in all the
What have we
years
never
that we've
done, Super
We've
Don?
never had like an actual like debate style.
Yeah, that would be
show.
cool.
I'm open to it, but you know those people that want to debate me, they don't want to come on the show because then it would give us legitimacy. That's always the excuse.
And it
I don't
could
want
be
to
also
legitimize their arguments. So it's like, what's the point? You can't handle a little discussion? No? I think we're pretty cool about that. Hey, Ula, thank you. Yes, I stole your thunder at the end of the show. I realized we were overtime a little bit already, and I said, you know what I said. And you should have said, you know what you said. Maybe you could say it at the end of bonus round,
yes.
and I can
I
make
will.
up for it. All right,
The
Super D,
power
how
to
was it?
steal is yours.
The power to steal?
Mhm.
It's my line. No, I give
Yeah.
it away. It's not my line. Everybody can. How's the chat room doing there, buddy? We got lots of people engaged, new people all the time coming on board.
Mm-hmm.
Are you napping?
No, not
There's
yet.
no napping.
Close. I'm close.
Did you go out for a walk this morning? No, you never were busy. You're so busy in the morning, you have to escape in the afternoon, and even then it's hard.
I took the dog outside to go to the bathroom. Does that count?
Dude, that so does not count.
I was outside in the sun.
But
no
then
less.
you're telling me you won't take your shirt off to get
I
real
was-
sun exposure.
No, there's no reason to take my shirt.
And Michael Bolden says no pants Wednesdays or whatever. I don't know.
People call the police if I take my shirt off.
They will not.
Yeah.
You see what they wear in Florida? Old men with G-strings. That's awful. Horrible. Horrible. Never unsee that. So
Dr.
don't-
Mercola, actually, he was live streaming topless in little Speedos on the beach saying he's getting his vitamin D3.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I just,
you can do it.
yeah, I don't want to do that, but okay. Now, one of the things I will say, now that the we're like 99% there to active the greenhouses.
That's
We
so
just
cool.
have a couple of tweaks to do, and then I will do video tours of the greenhouses because I know you're interested, and it will
Yeah.
be a teachable moment for everybody, even for me as I'm talking about how this is constructed, what's there, and maybe you can mimic it in your own way. I don't have the official designs. Everybody can decide what size they want to make. Our quote-unquote hot house is 6x8, and I don't know how tall it is, but 6x8, that and then the cold house, which is more the greens that you can grow year-round, is 8x8, just so you know the size of them. But I will tour you through it now that we're almost there. I think hopefully today will be the final day. Everything will be fixed and ready to go.
So, what are you going to plant there? in
Well,
the greenhouse?
we just were discussing that, my wife and I, before the show, getting certain seeds that we want to plant, certain things, or gathering seeds from things we're already grown. Also, we can transplant some of the summer things, like the tomato plants. We
Yeah.
can bring them into the hothouse, and they can continue to provide year-round, produce tomatoes and things as well. I think I haven't asked this question, but I think without the pollinators, you have to self-pollinate. There's probably a way to do that as well. It's not, again, I'm not an expert in all these things. I'm learning as I go, but when I learn, I can teach as well, so everybody can benefit. And that's why I love about what everybody's doing, what you're doing, Ula. You're impacting so many, teaching people about the things you've learned and put into practice.
That's what we should do.
So let's see. Oh, people are now onto that no underwear. I didn't say no underwear. I said pants. I said pants, not. Oh my gosh. Keep the boxers on at least. Come on.
Yeah.
You have some plausible deniability that you're not exposing yourself at that moment. So, guys are crazy, silly crazy. All right, so let's talk about one more serious subject, and then if we have anything silly, I want to bring it back in. Lyme disease. Lyme disease can wreak havoc with mental health. This is an article out of Medicine Net, and of course they got the picture of the scary tick. And whether it's the Borrelia spirochete causing it, or whether it's the vulnerability because of other terrain issues, let's just talk about the issues of mental disorders and Lyme. Patients hospitalized for Lyme had a 28% higher incidence of mental disorders and were twice as likely to attempt suicide than people without Lyme. That is significant,
Well,
folks.
it affects the neurological system. Yeah, the nervous system. I saw personally when I had my meningitis, I was 15 and I was hospitalized for over a month. And I saw people with Lyme disease, and in Poland it was borreliosis. I don't know if in English it's the same, but it's from Borrelia, the virus from the ticks. And the man that came much later when I was there came, I don't know, to me he was old, but probably he was like 50, because I was just a teenage girl. So anyone over 40 was old. But he was just, let's say, middle-aged, and he had stiff neck. So they thought he's got meningitis as well. So they put him all of us in the same unit, contagious unit with meningitis. And he had stiff neck, and he passed away just 3 days after. Because it wasn't meningitis, it was this borreliosis.
Well, one of the things with the Lyme diagnosis is that still in the official allopathic medical circles, there's so much controversy about it. Is it even real, even though they know it's real?
Yes.
But the treatments are so devastating. Permanent antibiotics, for instance, which destroys your gut microbiome, which impacts mental health because brain connections and microbiome connections and neurotransmitter production. All of that is made worse by many of the treatments. And
the late, the late not a doc, Chris Barr, because I asked him, Michael had a bite that looked like a mosquito bite, but then there was this little circle around. And I was like, oh my goodness, is it, tick bite? Does he have a Lyme disease? Or what can I do? And I asked Chris, and I was like, can you help me? Is there any protocol that I can take, that I can give him? And he was like, from the picture, it doesn't look like a Lyme, but, it won't hurt if you do the protocol. So it was, of course, tons of silver and tons of selenium. And I think they have this protocol in their files on Not a Doc, Not a Nurse group, which is still active. And it helped a lot. I mean, I don't know if he had any reaction or a bacterial infection, because I just immediately started working on it.
Yeah. Well, part of the despair associated with a diagnosis that doctors often deny and say it's all in your head also can create more mental and depression scenarios as well. So it's not just one thing. A lot of things are related here. And thank goodness Not a Nurse and Not a Doc live on as long as we can. That community is helping one another as we are here. Also, Super Don put a link to our Fans of RSB show on Telegram. Kevin Tuttle and the crew. It's growing, and people are covering a lot of ground there. So there's a lot of opportunities to help one another, which I'm just so grateful for, that everybody's taken up what we have learned, what others have taught here on this show as well, and to continue to build on it as we move forward. Super D, any other questions or comments coming through we should acknowledge?
Edward wanted to know how many bananas is too much. I had to look it up.
And what did you find?
Turns out that in order to get what would be considered a toxic amount of potassium, which is what people have been concerned about as far as bananas go, you would have to eat 42 bananas a day.
Oh, okay.
And that could possibly put you into that hyperkalemia or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's even possible to eat 42 bananas, but that's apparently the number.
Maybe Arnie, we could feed him 42 bananas.
There you go. Screw your bananas.
Screw your bananas. Screw your freedom, Arnie.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Have you ever eaten a banana and got a tummy ache from it? Like if it wasn't ripe enough or anything?
Oh, yeah. Nasty.
So you can feel it. You'll know. It's like, okay, I've had enough. All right, let's see what other questions or comments coming out and around. Ula, so much appreciate you coming on today to brighten our day.
Thank you for having me.
Change the topic as well. You notice this second hour, we hardly talked about anything related to the new C word.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good goal. Super Don helped in that regard as well.
No, and I really hope that it will help people to get hydrated, because it's honestly, I know that everybody keeps saying, even the conventional doctors say, you need to stay hydrated. You go to the gym and your trainer says you have to stay hydrated, but they don't really tell you that there are other ways to get hydrated. You drink hydrogen-enriched water, you get more hydration in a glass than drinking 3 glasses of regular water. That's for once. Then you can have herbal teas. And
Herbal.
yeah, I say herbal, and people correct me, but it's H. It's not herbal.
Is it like Cool Whip?
Yeah, you got to say whip. My wife does that.
Okay.
She pronounces whip.
Now I'm laughing.
What was that?
Well, H is silent.
Oh my gosh, Ula! God, it's hard. That's harsh. That's the way I should say it's arsh.
Yes.
That was arsh.
Arsh,
Jeff Herzog says, Radio America USA wants a 1-hour show featuring Ula on a Saturday. LOL.
Oh man.
Hashtag bring back Ula for her own show. Yeah.
Ooh, Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, now that my official certificate is coming, it's on its way. Ooh, yes, my license to kill. No, hopefully not. But I really want to launch a few programs, protocols, and hopefully help people officially. So
Nice.
TIKFA, which is hope. I want to give people hope. Health and wellness, that's my Facebook page for now. I'm working on the website, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be working full time.
So what number language? You said Polish, German, then English. When was Hebrew? Was that number 4?
Oh no, I never learned Hebrew. I know a little bit of Hebrew because I have tons of Jewish friends, and they taught me because they were talking between themselves in Hebrew. And when I was working at telecom, I had a lot of Jewish clients from Israel, so I was trying to impress them. So I learned a few phrases. Yes.
You trying to practice with my mom? You talk to her?
Oh yes, absolutely. So now when she throws some Hebrew and I understand, I'm like, yay!
You probably remember more than I remember from my bar mitzvah. Let's see. Did you take silver by the mouth, and how much selenium? Oh, Colleen's asking about when you worked with the silver and selenium. Was it for your son primarily?
Yeah, it was for my son. Yeah. He's 14, and when he had a bite, he was 13. Yes, a year ago.
Were you using the Sovereign Silver or the Argentine 23 at that time?
No, well, both, because when I ran out of one, I was using the other.
Okay.
But really, Argentine is a little bit stronger, I believe, than silver
More
hydrosol.
more concentrated. So how many doses a day at the time were you giving your son?
I don't remember. It was quite a lot.
Frequently.
Yes.
And just so you know, folks, her son is very heavily into the autism spectrum, or injured by vaccines. We've talked about that before, and of course, these children often have difficulty in methylating, if you will, and detoxing metals, and even with quote unquote high dose or frequent dose administration of bioactive silver hydrosol, no adverse impact because it's still very minute microgram doses, and silver itself is not harmful to function. And the concern we have for lack of selenium as well in terms of methylation. Do you remember how much of the whole food selenium you were giving your son?
Like 8 pills from Innate Response.
So that was
4 times a day. Yes, 400 micrograms.
Yeah. So that gives you a little bit of insight there, Colleen. Hopefully that's helpful.
But there is a file on Not a Doc, Not a Nurse group. So, yes. Okay.
All right, Super D, what do we got for tomorrow? Do we have anything guest scheduled that we know of? I think we do. Is it tomorrow in the first hour?
Is Wednesday.
We're going to answer some questions.
Wayne Rohde. Yes, Wayne Rohde will be on to hopefully kind of clear the air.
Confusion about the approval.
Confusion about the FDA approval, and then we'll have Ty Bollinger in hour 2 for Outside the Box.
You know what? I will sneak preview one thing. I'm going to go ahead and reveal one thing to you. And maybe this has already been said elsewhere, but with the quote-unquote approval or licensure or whatever on the way with the Pfizer version, if they say it's fully approved now, you can mandate it, and then they give you or attempt to give you the shot that exists now that is not called by that brand name, and you see the box and it has the blank insert, they are medically negligent because they're utilizing a form that is not approved, that's still EUA. It is only the one that is branded now, and yet that's lost in the confusion. Probably everybody's going to be given, hey, let's use up the stocks of the stuff we have, yet that's medical negligence at the very least. I don't know if it rises to criminal negligence, but it's certainly medical negligence when you start giving the existing EUA shots and say they are now FDA approved, but those aren't the ones that are FDA approved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, the name of the one that's gotten clearance is like Comorbidity or Cormiarity or something like that.
Comorbidity.
Yeah, right. They should call it comorbidity.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But yeah, the point is if anybody says you have to get it because it's now approved and they try to give you the EUA shot that's already that's not right. But that's one of many things we'll talk about tomorrow in the half hour we have with Wayne Rohde, and he's very intelligent. He's appeared on the High Wire a few times, I think, as well. And then Ty Bollinger will go outside the box prepping for the Truth About Cancer. South Carolina to Tennessee, not that far, right?
It's not too far. But because I'm going to Trinity, I cannot.
Oh, so you can't do both. All right. Well, at least you'll see you at one of them, right?
Oh, yes. And I will see Ty and Charlene in Chicago as well. So.
Oh, yeah. They'll be there for the Trinity Health Freedom Expo. TrinityHealthFreedomExpo.com. See y'all there. That's going to be the 2nd and 3rd of October. And looking forward to it, my friend. So,
and Jonathan
anything...
Emord and Brian Hooker.
Yeah.
Amazing people. Tracy Strout will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leslie, love you, Ula, she says.
Oh, love you, Leslie. She's the best. You have
She's
to have
awesome.
Leslie on the show and about her family. And she's a superwoman. She can do everything. And
I'm intimidated by her. She's
I know.
amazing.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I don't think I can
She's like a
handle having her
walking
on the show.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, she's
Like
very...
whenever there is a quiz on AMA, I know if Leslie is competing, I just quit.
Yeah, you can't compete. Leslie's so fast. It's
Yeah.
like poor Ula. We feel sorry for her and send her a consolation prize.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kayak.
Remember that. So
yes.
we do give, by the way, we do giveaways. We have fun giveaways during our AMA. So again, Nancy, welcome to you, our newest patron supporter. Thank you for your kindness and supporting us directly. And again, any support, the biggest you can do is even share the show, as we said. Help us get the message out and let people know this is the place for health, freedom, and healing liberty. And Super Don, any other messages that are critical before we wrap it up here?
I don't think so.
We're making Leslie brush.
What
are you brushing?
She doesn't usually brush her hair until we make her. Leslie, what is that? You can brush your hair without our permission. You don't need our permission.
I think she meant blush.
You think blush?
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll have her on the show. If she's going to blush, then we definitely got to have her on the
Yes,
show. So we'll find
definitely.
out.
It's gonna
if
be
she wants
fun.
to do it. I don't know if she wants to do this show. I don't know. I'd have
It
her
will
on
be
the show, of
fun.
course.
It will be fun. She's fun
Yeah.
and super smart.
Darn that smartphone, she says. Well, we'll find out if Leslie would really do the show or not. That would be interesting for sure. But she has appeared at the AMAs, and we love
Yes.
her and her 6 daughters and her husband. They're amazing. And so, yeah, she's welcome to come on the show, and we can coordinate that.
I really like the last AMA, even though I wasn't there physically, but I watched the replay, and it was like a very nice family setting, and the help that people were giving each other. Wow.
It was great.
Sport. Amazing.
Super Don was upset because nobody was yelling at anybody. It was like nobody was angry.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I'm sorry.
Oh, Ula would be there. And then it'd be... Well, Ula, can you make the next one on the 30th, the Monday evening one?
Yes, Lord willing, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, beautiful. So with that, let me just really quickly check our chat room at robertscottbell.com/listen. Let's see. Anything else we got? No, I think we're good. Stephen just published or pushed an image there of the Moderna COVID-19 shot that is not approved. It's an EUA, even though, again, the controversy surrounding the approval is still real. And we'll try to help those reeling with it to understand what's real, what's not about it tomorrow with Wayne Rohde. So now it's your turn because I stole your thunder last hour as we're wrapping up the show.
The power to heal is truly yours.
You said it so well.
Bye.